Samoa Joe is all elite after making an appearance at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor last night and signing an AEW contract. Wheeler Yuta is also officially all elite after winning the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Plus, we have a ton of Ring of Honor news coming out of last night's Supercard of Honor event. Multiple title changes, heel turns, and just the general future of Ring of Honor. All this and more in today's AEW and Ring of Honor news. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestle News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. It's WrestleMania Day. Happy WrestleMania Day. But WrestleMania isn't the only show that's been going on this weekend. Last night we had a huge Supercard of Honor event, plus some big AEW news coming out of that event. So we have got a lot to get into. So let's start off talking about Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is officially all elite. Now, this is going to be a bit of a tricky video, it must be said, because we're going to be going back and forth between a lot of AEW and Ring of Honor news because they're both owned by the same guy. So there's kind of a lot of back and forth here. Now, Samoa Joe appeared at Ring of Honor last night at Supercard of Honor, and it was announced that Joe will be appearing on AEW Dynamite this coming Wednesday. Ian Riccoboni noted during the Ring of Honor show last night that Joe would be appearing on Dynamite on Wednesday. Furthermore, after his appearance at Supercard of Honor, which we'll talk about in a second, AEW president and new Ring of Honor owner Tony Khan took to Twitter to declare that Joe is all elite. Khan confirmed Wednesday's Dynamite appearance for the Samoan Submission Machine, who of course has a huge history in Ring of Honor. He had the longest Ring of Honor World Championship reign of all time at 645 days when he held the title from March 22nd, 2003 to December 26, 2004. Now, let's talk about Joe's appearance at Supercard of Honor last night, which you can see right there. Joe made his surprise return to Ring of Honor last night, and it was a heck of a show. Just from the outset, it must be said, an absolute heck of a show. It was definitely, as Tony Khan mentioned in his media scrums, a transitional show. You kind of get an inclination as to where Tony Khan is going. I think some people that appeared on the show, maybe dropped championships, probably aren't going to be in Tony Khan's new vision of Ring of Honor. It was a case of tying up some loose ends. I think that's kind of the situation. Of course, it was Ring of Honor's first event since being acquired by All Elite Wrestling owner and president Tony Khan on March 2nd. The company, of course, had been on hiatus since December 2021 and last produced Final Battle on December 11th, 2021. And as I mentioned, it was definitely a change in direction that was clearly felt with the multiple title changes and all that kind of stuff. But in the main event of the evening, Jonathan Gresham pinned Bandido, who was managed by Chavo Guerrero, so it doesn't appear that there's any lingering or residual heat when it comes to Chavo Guerrero and Tony Khan. But Jonathan Gresham pinned Bandido to become the undisputed Ring of Honor World Champion, which was expected. This came after months of both wrestlers carrying a version of Ring of Honor's leading prize. However, after the match, a former notable Ring of Honor legend made his shocking return. The longest reigning Ring of Honor World Champion of all time, Samoa Joe, made his presence felt at the end of the night, saving Jonathan Gresham and Lee Moriarty from a beatdown from Jay Lethal and Sonjay Dutt. Now, Lethal, who had turned on his longtime friend Matt Sydal earlier on in the night, challenged Gresham to a title match immediately after his victory over Bandido. Now, Gresham was having none of it because of his earlier actions, which resulted in Dutt punching Gresham in the face and the beating taking place. After Moriarty tried to help and failed, of course, Lethal and Moriarty had a match earlier on in the evening. Samoa Joe had no other choice but to make his way down to the ring. Initially, he got in the face of Jay Lethal before choking out Sonjay Dutt in the middle of the ring. Now, this return marks Joe's first major wrestling appearance since his NXT Championship victory over Karrion Kross in August of 2021. Joe was forced to relinquish the title in the following month before being released by WWE on January 6th. So I think a lot of people expected Joe maybe not to appear last night. I think that might have been a thought that he could show. I think a lot of people were expecting some form of Ring of Honor names to be there that were free agents. I think Cesaro, Claudio Castagnoli was a big name. He didn't appear on the show, on the broadcast, but Samoa Joe was definitely one of them. And I think everyone expected at some point Samoa Joe to end up in AEW. Now, we don't know, and this is kind of the confusing element, I suppose, to AEW and Ring of Honor right now. We don't know where Joe is going to primarily sit. Is he going to be a Ring of Honor wrestler going forward, or is he going to be an AEW wrestler going forward? I think that whilst Tony Khan is trying to figure out Ring of Honor and trying to find a home for it, because we don't even know when the next event is. That must be pointed out as well. And he spoke in the post-show media scrum that he's having conversations with Warner Media and they're impressed with Ring of Honor, and the hope is that he'll probably find a home for Ring of Honor in the Warner Media family somewhere, sometime, someday. But I would assume until then, these seeds that have been planted when it comes to Ring of Honor won't bear fruit, shall we say, until all of those details are confirmed. So for the time being, Joe will definitely be an AEW guy, and he'll be wrestling in AEW. And frankly, that's where his money is. We know that Joe, at this stage in his career, he's beat up. Obviously, he's very beat up, and he's older. And there is a limited window for Samoa Joe, frankly. And it makes sense, considering his reputation, considering his age, that AEW makes the most out of him on the biggest stage possible, which right now is AEW. So I expect Joe to be more primarily focused in AEW going forward. I expect him to have a match in Ring of Honor, certainly at some point. But again, we don't know when the next... we don't know when the next Ring of Honor show is even going to be. Tony Khan was very, sparse on the details regarding all of that last night. So, again, I don't know. Once we get any more details about that, we'll speak about it. But look, Joe's a good pickup, and Joe is what AEW is. It's kind of like AEW has become, I think, realistically, what Triple H's vision for NXT probably was within WWE. Those people that have an indie background, a professional wrestling background. AEW is sort of becoming, and I think this is by both companies' choice, becoming distinctly different than WWE. WWE is sports entertainment, and it's focusing on athletes, younger people, whereas AEW is focusing on professional wrestlers, people that have come through the indie scene and people that, were fans of wrestling their whole lives, whereas WWE is more focused on younger talent coming from an athletic background, whether it's the NFL, the NBA, or whatever. And as Joe kind of said in his media scrum, the writing was on the wall. When Triple H got sick and when William Regal was released, Joe just doesn't fit. What's he going to be in NXT? No, of course he's not. He just doesn't fit that profile at all. So it was obvious that he was probably going to go from WWE, and I think he's a big pickup for AEW. Who will he face off against? Everyone has wanted... and maybe it might be too late, I don't know, for it to be as good as it once was. It won't be as good as it once was. That's just fact. But everyone's wanted to see Joe versus CM Punk again. Everyone has wanted to see that because of their legendary matches in Ring of Honor. There was a hope that maybe it could happen in WWE. It didn't happen while Punk was there, and while Joe was there, Punk wasn't there anymore. And that sucks. They were never in the same company. Since they were in Ring of Honor, they were never in the same company again. Now they are. So that's really exciting, really, really exciting, and I'm down for it. I really am down for it. So I think it's a great pickup for AEW. And like I said before, I just think that looking at what we saw last night, and I thought it was a really good show. It was a Tony Khan show. You could definitely feel it was a Tony Khan show. You kind of get the vibe of what Ring of Honor is going to be going forward once they do have more regular dates and television, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be... it's going to be separate from AEW, certainly, but it's going to be another territory, which is needed. And that's the situation. It's needed because of how big AEW's roster is, and it's going to be able to cycle out talent to be more focused in Ring of Honor, and then when they get hot, when they get over, they can come into AEW, and I think that's going to be really beneficial for a lot of people in AEW, absolutely. Now, we also saw new World Tag Team Champions last night crowned as FTR defeated the Briscoes in what could be one of the matches of WrestleMania weekend. I mean, if you love tag team wrestling, watch that match. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, I could talk about all of the spots. I could talk about all of the moments, but it was just great. Now, the outcome itself wasn't surprising because we know the Briscoes aren't going to be in AEW, and it doesn't look like they're going to be in Ring of Honor either. So the move is to make FTR Ring of Honor World Champions. But again, this is a good thing. And again, I think it shows the benefit of having a Ring of Honor in Tony Khan's portfolio, in the sense that what were FTR doing in AEW? What are they doing in AEW? There's a storyline playing out on TV where they're turning babyface, probably looking for a new manager, all that kind of stuff. But realistically, that tag team division is just so big. It's just so big and so full of talent in AEW that you just can't get on TV every week. You know, when you've got Jurassic Express, Red Dragon, the Young Bucks, the Lucha Brothers, the Hardy Boys, Blade and Butcher. I mean, we could go on and on and on of just the great tag teams, Private Party, Sting and Darby Allin, etc., etc., etc. It is filled to the brim with superb tag teams, and they just all can't be on the show every single week. And they're too good to be sitting on the sideline, certainly. So that's where Ring of Honor is beneficial. Go to Ring of Honor. You know, go to Ring of Honor, be the World Tag Team Champions, do something different, perform in a different environment. And I think that's key as well. And I think that they did that well last night, and I hope they stick to this, is that whilst it definitely felt like a Tony Khan show, the aesthetic of Ring of Honor was still similar enough, I think, to the old Ring of Honor. They still had the same commentary, Ian Riccoboni, etc. They still had that kind of feel of the stage being smaller and the screen being smaller and the rampway going through the fans being a tight rampway. They need to keep all that. The moment they make it look like Dynamite or they make it look like Rampage or AEW programming, then there's just letters. You know, the whole point is it's got to be different. And that's where in the past, where say WWE purchased, or when they've got Raw and SmackDown, they feel the same. And that's the important thing, I think, going forward. They need to feel different, because seeing these guys in a different environment against different opponents, that's where the money is. And that's how you keep talent fresh. And that's how, you know, you keep them invigorated. You can go to Ring of Honor and do something different. Now, speaking of title changes, Minoru Suzuki won his first ever championship in America. Whoa, it's awesome, because Minoru Suzuki is the new Ring of Honor television champion. Minoru Suzuki won the ROH TV Championship from Rhett Titus at Supercard of Honor. Suzuki had a pretty dominant showing to take home his first wrestling title in the United States. It was a fine match. I'm fascinated to see what the future is for Minoru Suzuki, frankly, in AEW Ring of Honor. Tony Khan spoke about it in the media scrum after the event, saying that he was really proud of, you know, being able to build back up this relationship between, you know, Ring of Honor and New Japan, but also his relationship with New Japan, because, and it's true that when AEW was founded, there was, I mean, so much heat there, because the feeling was that Tony Khan had ripped away this big core of people from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he hadn't, I suppose he kind of had, because he signed it, but all of their contracts expired, whether it was Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, the Bucks, and, you know, Hangman Page, and they felt kind of slighted, man, they're trying to put New Japan out of business. And through maybe being forced slightly with the pandemic, but also being open to working with other companies, I think everyone's kind of come to the agreement of, no, we're all happy to work together, and it's beneficial that we all work together. So to have, you know, a New Japan Pro Wrestling star holding a Ring of Honor championship in a company owned by the AEW president is pretty wild. And, you know, I don't know, the television championship, it just seems a bit of an odd fit to me. Minoru Suzuki being the ROH TV champion, I would have thought maybe like the pure championship, but I suppose he's not really a pure wrestler in that sense. I don't know. But, you know, it was great to see, and I'm fascinated to see Minoru Suzuki as a possible semi-regular in Ring of Honor / AEW going forward. Well, that's fantastic. I really think so. Now, we just spoke about FTR. The Young Bucks also appeared at Supercard of Honor last night, which was interesting because at the same time, they were on TNT. They were on Rampage, which was, you know, not very interesting. Now, they appeared at Supercard of Honor and they got themselves a match for AEW Dynamite in the process. We'll talk about that in a second. They appeared at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view after FTR won the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, and they super kicked the now former champions, the Briscoes. Now, this then leads in to what we're going to see this coming Wednesday on Dynamite. In addition to seeing, of course, Samoa Joe on Dynamite on Wednesday, we're also going to see a huge multiple title tag team match, because FTR is set to defend both their AAA World Tag Team Championships and their Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles on Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, which again is significant. Now, this is being billed as FTR versus the Young Bucks 2. FTR and the Bucks had words over who is the greatest tag team in wrestling as of late. This week's Dynamite saw Dax Harwood challenge the Bucks to a rematch from Full Gear, which saw the Bucks defeat FTR for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. So I would think, and you never know, but I would think that FTR win this one, because I mean, imagine winning the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships just to drop them again. But again, this is the thing. everything is very transitional at the moment. So we don't know what Tony Khan's vision is for Ring of Honor going forward. It might be his vision for Ring of Honor going forward is to have the Bucks as the tag team champions. For me, I don't think that's necessary. I think that give FTR a run with the belts, make them, the tag team champions in ROH for the next, say, 6 months or whatever, and do that. But both belts being on the line lends me to think that... But I know that aren't the Bucks advertised for Triple Mania, which again makes me think, well, maybe they might win the AAA Tag Team Championships then, which will also include the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. I don't know. I really don't know. I wouldn't be stunned, put it that way, if we did see a title change on Wednesday. I really wouldn't, but I think FTR should win considering they lost their last encounter, unless they're going to do a trilogy, and that's where FTR win the bouts, I would think. But we'll wait and see when it comes to that one. Now, another title change last night saw Wheeler Yuta. Yes, Wheeler Yuta become the new Ring of Honor Pure Champion. I really like this. This is a really good fit. Like I said, even though I said Minoru Suzuki was a bit of an odd one for the television championship, I really like this. I'm a big Wheeler Yuta fan. I thought his match with Bryan Danielson on Wednesday on Dynamite was absolutely brilliant. I thought it was the match of the night in what was a fairly strong Dynamite. But the Supercard of Honor event last night saw Yuta defeat Josh Woods to capture the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Again, I doubt that Josh Woods is probably going to be in Ring of Honor going forward. It looks like Tony Khan's vision of Ring of Honor will see Wheeler Yuta carrying that Pure Championship. Now, in an update after this, after winning the Pure Championship, it was announced that Wheeler Yuta is now officially All Elite, which was a bit odd because he's been appearing on AEW television since June of last year. So I was like, I thought he was anyway. But maybe, I know there is like a tier system when it comes to contracts in AEW. So maybe he was just on a lower tier. And then once you get to sort of that higher tier of sort of like, it's a bit like Saturday Night Live, right? When you get to the primetime players or whatever. Once you get to that top billing, that's when you officially get your graphic or something like that. I don't know. This is what Tony Khan said, quote, "It's official. He's the new Ring of Honor Pure Champion and Wheeler Yuta is All Elite." As I mentioned, Yuta began working with AEW in June of 2021 on the Dark shows, but was quickly put with the Best Friends and was a member, or has been a member of that stable ever since, even though I felt that was a strange fit. There was a storyline going into Supercard of Honor where Khan said William Regal would be in attendance to keep an eye on Yuta following Yuta's impressive loss to Bryan Danielson on AEW Dynamite this week. Regal did not appear on Friday night, but he stated on Dynamite that he is very interested in Yuta to potentially bring him into the Blackpool Combat Club stable with Danielson and Moxley. And I think that really fits. I really do think that fits. Again, I thought the match they had on Dynamite on Wednesday was fantastic. I love the idea of the Blackpool Combat Club having the Ring of Honor Pure Champion in there. I think that fits so well. I'd be interested to see if we see any more Blackpool Combat Club crossover into Ring of Honor, but I like the idea of stables that are prominent in AEW having representation in Ring of Honor. Now, maybe not appearing every single week on the broadcast, but having sort of your Ring of Honor person, shall we say, in there. I think that's great. We also saw Brian Cage return to action last night at Supercard of Honor as Tully Blanchard Enterprises is now officially in business. Tully Blanchard has revealed his new clients. After being fired by Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood of FTR on the March 9 episode of AEW Dynamite, Tully Blanchard has now found himself with some new clients to form Tully Blanchard Enterprises. During the Supercard of Honor 0-hour pre-show, Blanchard introduced Korn and Toa Lainoa, known as the Gates of Agony, as his new tag team. The duo faced Cheeseburger and Eli Isom and picked up the victory. Tully revealed that he had been contacted by the tag team to take them to the next level. He also later revealed that his next client is none other than the Machine Brian Cage. Cage, making his Ring of Honor debut, faced Ninja Mac in a one-on-one match and scored the victory using the Drill Claw. The former FTW champion, who is signed to AEW, last performed on Tony Khan's promotion on October 6, 2021, where he lost to Ricky Starks in a Philadelphia street fight. Now, it was fascinating because Tony Khan spoke again to the media after the show in the media scrum, and he said, I've had these plans for Brian Cage to sort of re-debut and be repackaged in Ring of Honor for a while, but obviously I couldn't tell him because I was bound by a confidentiality clause in the negotiations for the company that I couldn't say. So when I picked up his option, it was because I had these plans, and then Brian Cage told everyone they've picked up my option, but I don't know why. It's because he had the plans to do it in Ring of Honor, but he just couldn't say. That was the problem. But again, I think this is a great example. I think this is another really good example of what Ring of Honor can be to AEW. Tully Blanchard gets fired from FTR. Okay, what are you going to do? Send him ROH. Send him to ROH. Send someone like Brian Cage, who you've got nothing for in AEW. Send him to ROH. Get over. Get over. Work regularly. And then if you get over enough or you're popular, then bring them back to AEW. That's how you cycle talent in and out. They always used to say in the territory days, right? Can't stay in the territory too long. Got to remain fresh. And that's what basically Ring of Honor is to AEW right now, while still being a prominent promotion. So I think that's fantastic. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on today's AEW and Ring of Honor news stories in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe to Wrestle News 365, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.